Today, on behalf of UDYAMITA Helpline, we are really fortunate to invite Abha Mishra ji, the co-founder of AY Ventures. Dear participants, I would really like to introduce you about AY Ventures. It is basically an angel investment and VC funding company which gives opportunity to the startups. They hold their hands in all the stages of investment, from raising capitals, funds from angel investors to even banks and family offices and VCs. They also help you in preparing and presenting pitch deck of your business along with fundraising documents. So it's like, when you have an idea in your mind and you want to proceed and you want to have wings to fly, they are the people who are going to help you. So she is basically, the firm is a mixture of all youngsters who have dared to, prove themselves. And at such an early age, she's the co-founder of the firm, and she's got so much feathers in her hat. Like she had started, she's got 5 years of experience and successfully assisted more than 15 startups today. She started her career as an advisory role in an IB advisory firm. And today she's worked for more than over 500 startups and has guided them throughout the entire processes. So I think Abhaji has already joined us, and I take a pleasure in handling the session to her. And later we would also be joined by our finance head, CA Vandana ji. So today, whatever questions you want to ask or the queries you have, kindly just note it down, because later we're going to have a question answer round. Therein you can really share your journey or the queries you have while starting up your business, or getting some financial help in the early stage, from preparing presentation and documents and certificates. This is the place today. So I think Abha would be, sharing the entire presentation, which will include all your queries. But still, if there's a one-on-one round you want to have with her, you will be getting a chance to ask questions. So meanwhile, you can just write it down, and later you can raise your hand, put it on the chat, and I'm sure Abha is going to answer it. So let me wholeheartedly welcome Abha, and you can take the session forward. We all are waiting eagerly to hear from you and start our journey as well, and be in strong hands like you. So from entire UDYAMITA Helpline team, I really welcome Abhaji.
Yeah. Hi everyone. Thank you, Sonia. Thank you for the great introduction. So hello everyone. Welcome to today's webinar on angel investment and VC funding opportunities. I hope I'm audible enough.
Yes,
Sonia?
Abha, you're doing great. Yeah.
Okay. Thank you. Okay, so since Sonia has already done the introduction part, let me quickly share my screen and I'll just brief you about the webinar and what exactly we are going to cover up today. So the very first topic is, the current funding landscape, basically, what is happening in the market right now. And, if at all we can raise funds at this, moment or not, what is the current funding scenario. So all these things will cover, apart from, also the news which has come into the market about angel, tax abolishment and all. So we'll try to cover all those aspects. Then the second topic would be, what are the pros and cons of bootstrapping versus seeking investment. So basically, for those founders who have already bootstrapped their startup, is it a good, thing for those type of startups, or you should also seek investment and look for more, investors for further rounds or not. So this is something which we are going to cover in the second thing. Then the stages of investment, though we didn't included this part, the stages of investment in this pitch deck, but I wanted to explain you that at what stage exactly you should ideally go into the market and raise funds basically, because most of the times what happens that founders you know raise funds very too early, or maybe they go for a very later stage and then they try to raise funds. So what should be ideally done by all stage founders? So that is something which we are going to cover into this. And then the common pitfalls in raising capital, and what how we can avoid them, what are the problems, what are the most of the things which founders are doing nowadays in the market, and how those problems you can avoid basically. And then we'll also learn about how to prepare a pitch deck and the other fundraising documents basically. And finally we'll move on to the question answer session. So moving on to the very first topic, which was the current startup funding and the funding landscape. So basically what we have observed over time that due to funding winter, founders were not able to raise funds at all, and there were a lot of limitations, there were a lot of problems which founders have faced since last 2 years, uh, as per the market scenario. So I was talking about the current, funding landscape basically. So, what we have observed according to this article, which was published in, private circle, it states that, Delhi NCR along with Kolkata and Bangalore has, raised maximum amount of funding in quarter one of uh, financial year 2024. And experts are estimating that this is going to increase in this year. So those founders who are looking to raise funds now, so ideally we suggest that this is the good time now. You can start raising funds in the market. uh, the market is open for early stage, even the startups who are at pre-revenue stages, they can also start raising funds. So as I've clearly said that as per our research, what we have observed in the last quarter and as well as this quarter, the funding market is open now, and investors are looking to invest in startups. But again, the constraint here is that they're looking to invest only in sustainable, more scalable, and tech-enabled startups. So, if you or if any of the founders fall under this category, then the funding, then you can look for raising funds into this category. Then, moving on to the next slide. Uh, so we have researched on the sectors in which the the investors are willing to invest, and this is according to this Livement report, which states that fintech, health, e-commerce, SaaS, AI, semiconductors, space tech, defense, energy, and climate tech startups are actually really a booming startups, and investors are looking to invest in such sectors nowadays. Then the good news, obviously, as everyone might have already heard about this news in the Union Budget of 2024 and 2025, that there's an abolishment of angel tax from it will immense from 2020 financial year 25 to 26 for all the investors, and this is definitely going to help us out, in raising more money and scaling more and more startups. So we have here we have also mentioned the conditions for angel tax exemption. So what are the criterias that is for the angel investors basically to fall under the this category. Moving on to the next slide. Yeah. So now, what what are the pros and cons of bootstrapping? Bootstrapping, by bootstrapping me means self-funded startups. Those startups who are their own funding their using their own funds to run their startup, scale their startup. And what is the you know benefit for those startups who who are looking to raise funds, and how what can be the benefit of uh, you know taking investment from investors rather than just bootstrapping it. So basically, let's move on to the pros part first. So uh, obviously, the very first point which states that there's more independence and control over your business. That is obviously, if you are bootstrapping your company, if you are not if you're self-funding your company and running it, then definitely you have more control over your business. You have more liberty to run the business as the way you want to run it, and you don't have any control of investors, any control of any other VC firm, and you can run it smoothly. The second point is obviously you are financially disciplined and resourceful. That is your you know how much funds you have to utilize. Uh, you know you already decide a budget that this is the amount which we are going to utilize, and this is how we are going to expand within the budget. And you also define as timeline that within this timeline I'll be utilizing this much fund and try to scale the business. And then obviously building a more customer centric approach, wherein you'll focus more on your customers, you'll focus more on your revenue, you'll focus more on scalability rather than you know uh, looking for funding, basically. Because most of the times what we have observed that if any startup who is looking to raise funds, if they go into the market, they just get defocused, and they just focus on raising funds only, and they spend their whole day and night in just finding more and more investors, and sharing their ideas rather than just focusing on their own business. So which is again a constraint that founders are not able to focus on their main day-to-day operations, and that's where they lose the point of scaling their own business. And moving on to the cons, basically, obviously, if you're not approaching any investor, then definitely there's a limitation of your own capital. You'll not be able to use the capital beyond after some time, because obviously you have a limited capital to fund your own startup, and then after some time you definitely need some funds to scale a business. Then your business may grow slowly. Obviously, if you don't have a capital, you'll not be able to scale at a at, to an extent. Maybe you can scale it by your own capital, but then obviously someday you need funds so that you can scale it faster and compete with the competitors you have in the market right now. Because as compared to old businesses, as compared to traditional businesses, startups are referred as startups are meant to scale faster as compared to traditional investors. So definitely, if you want to grow in the pace as your competitors are doing, then definitely fundraising is the only solution for scaling it. And then obviously bootstrapping means investing your personal finances, which is uh, you know you might lose your whole hard earned money, and you might risk your whole finances in just running the business. And what if you're not able to succeed? So obviously there are a lot of limitations too of not raising funds. But then at the same time, there are companies who have run successfully, without raising any funds. They just keep their focus on running the startup and scaling the business, basically. moving on to the next slide. Stages of investment. So I uh, we thought that we should also include this slide in the in this pitch deck basically because we wanted to explain founders because most of the times what is happening with us is that whichever founder we are meeting at with whatever stage we are meeting them, uh, founders they are not able to understand that at that the stage of the startup matters a lot once you know start looking to raise funds for your company. So we'll quickly start with the stages of investment. uh, so the very first stage is pre-seed stage. That is the very first stage. Normally idea stage companies or companies who has just developed the you know MVP, that is minimum viable product, uh, or the startups who has crossed their idea stage and is looking to work on their MVP comes under this falls under this category, pre-seed stage. And ideally they should look for family, friends and family, or incubators or government grants in this stage to raise funds. If you say that you want to approach an angel, if you say that you want to approach a VC firm at this stage, or maybe early investors or syndicate investors, that's not possible. So it is ideally suggested to go to either your family or friends, or try to approach an incubator or accelerators, or try to approach couple of grants, government grants, or you can also approach angels in case if they are willing to invest. But normally even in the today's market scenario, most of the angel investors are also looking to invest at a later stage where the startup has crossed some initial revenue, some initial traction, some initial customer base, and then they are willing to invest. Then the second you know stages, seed stage startups. So basically at this stage the startup has already generated some initial traction, they have got some initial revenue, the product is ready to launch in the market, or maybe the product is already in the market. You have few 100 to 200 customers too, or maybe sometimes the founder has crossed some good revenue on as well, like 1 CR, 2 CR revenue is also there in the company. So normally at this stage, we can try to approach angels, we can try to approach venture capitalists, because this is the stage where ideally investors also show some, interest because they feel that the startup has, scaled to a level that, they can put in some amount and take risk. Then pre-series A to series B. So this comes normally under a later round where the company has already, you know, got the initial traction and everything is there, but now the company is looking to expand or grow basically in the market, or maybe they want to capture the sometimes they also want to capture the international markets, or sometimes they want to capture the other market which they have not yet captured. So in this uh, cases, normally the later stage VCs or even the early stage VCs sometimes come in maybe, but uh, most of the later stage VCs come in and put in funds. And then we have a lot of rounds, series C, D, E, etc. So this is how we have divided the stages of companies, and accordingly we suggest founders to raise funds as per their stage of the company. Uh, uh, can you please go on to the next slide? So the common pitfalls in raising funds and how to avoid them. So I've seen that most of the founders, especially founders who have just started the business, since obviously this is not the founder's mistake because obviously they have to focus on one thing, that is running their business. So they make a lot of mistakes in the early stages, and it is the duty. maybe of the advisor who is advising them, or the duty of IPs if they have approached any IP to suggest them that how they can, improve, how they can basically avoid those mistakes in the initial stages so that you can, raise funds smoothly, or maybe, uh, try to look for a better investor, or maybe try to avoid those type of investors who just put in some amount and then they don't come back at all. So there are a lot of factors, you know, which needs to be, looking before you approach an investor or before you raise funds. So the very first thing is raising too much or too little money. So most of the times what we have seen is that uh, a lot of founders either uh, raise a lot of amount in the initial stage, or they raise too little amount in the initial stage so that they can, show in the market that they have raised some, money, and then they can go for, raising further rounds. But maybe both the things are really hard for, us to define whether this will be a successful thing or not, because raising too much amount in the initial stage, maybe, at this stage you don't need that much money, or maybe even if you have raised this much money, how are you going to utilize this money? So, you should try to understand basically that, uh, if you want to raise so an x or y amount, try to understand your requirements first. Try to look into your, uh, you know company first, that if you, put in this much amount in your pitch deck, then whether you will be able to utilize this amount within the next, say like 18 to 12 months or not. If not, then you shouldn't raise, that much high amount in the initial stages. Maybe you should go for a balanced amount, and ideally at, early stages, uh, we normally suggest to go for 1 to 2 CR, because that's the ideal, amount which normally founders raise in the initial stages. Then giving up too much of the company. So by this we mean that you dilute a lot. Most of the founders, what they do is that they give too much stake to the investors, just because they want, you know, they want the investors to come in and invest in their company. But then this is something which is really harmful for a company, especially for early stage companies, because if they dilute a lot of amount in a lot of stakes in the early stages, and it becomes difficult for you to get further investors to raise further rounds, basically. The third point is unprepared for presentation or physical needs. This is something which we have observed over time, that, most of the founders, since they are not well versed with the investment industry, they are not well versed with the terms, they come very much unprepared in the presentation or on the Google Meets when we arrange calls for the founders. So, obviously this is something which we should normally avoid. You can take advice from your advisor, whosoever is advising you, before you present yourself in front of an investor. Then raising funds too early. As we have already suggested, if you're raising funds, try to understand that whether you need that fund right now or not. If you can survive, just a second. I hope now this is audible. So I was saying, if you can survive with your own bootstrap money, then try to survive and keep a gap of at least 6 months runway, so that, you know when to raise funds. It's not, if not, uh, at least after, 6 months, you should, after the initial, traction, you can go for raising funds, because it is all normally advised to, get some traction, get some revenue initially, and then if you go to raise funds, it will be clear to the investors also that, you are looking for more, you have already established something in the market. And then failing to research investors, obviously most of the times founders focus a lot on, finding more and more investors, and in case if they fail to find a good investor just because maybe they're not aware about the thesis of an investor, that how, what type of investment the investor does, in what sectors they, put in their money. So these are couple of factors why, you know, in founders fails to find an investor. Maybe they are not up, investors are not maybe investing right now in your market, in your sector. So a lot of factors are there. So this is something which you can avoid, initially, and try to focus only on your business. Maybe you can try approaching investors after, as I said, after having some initial traction. Then unrealistic valuation and numbers. So obviously, if you are going to big, if you are going to bring unrealistic or huge, valuation in the initial stages, it is not going to work out with investors. They are definitely going to question you if you don't give them a very good backing behind your numbers. But if you think that you have a very, you know, if you have a valuation with a good backing, then definitely it's not a problem. But again, if it's not, realistic, if it's not as per the industry standard, then definitely they're going to question. Then ignoring the needs for a contingency plan, and not asking for enough funds. So normally what happens that, uh, in case if you're looking to raise, you know say for example, uh, 1 CR, but you need 10 CR. Normally, founders prefer going for a lower amount because they want to raise as soon as possible. But that's where, investors don't entertain this, and they want, a clear picture once you raise funds, because they also want to see you expanding your business. They also want you to scale your business. And if you hide things from investors, if you don't tell them the real picture, that how exactly you want to grow, how exactly you will be, growing in the next 4 to 5 years, then definitely, uh, they might back off, or they might not fund the startup. Then definitely not seeking professional advice, since you're not into this you know, investment banking world, or maybe you're not aware about how investment happens in the ecosystem. So definitely it is always advisable to approach a right in advisor, or maybe you can also approach couple of incubation centers too, because they have good amount of mentors who can guide you in the initial stages. And apart from guiding, apart from mentoring you, they can also help you out in, bringing their own network of, people who can help you out in growing your business. So it is always advisable to approach, advisors in the initial stages, so that they can help you out in all the aspects of fundraising and your business growth too. When and at what stage to approach investors, as we have already covered this in the initial slide, that, depending on the stage of the company, you should ideally approach the type of investors. Then moving on to the next slide. Now, how to prepare your pitch deck and other fundraising documents. So we have two sets. We have divided this in two sets basically. There are a couple of mandatory documents which is, you know, like which should be provided by the founders, which we have covered in fundraising documents and the certificates too. So in the fundraising documents, we need pitch deck, we need business plan report, market research report, business plan, financial projection, DPR. By DPR may mean detailed project report and balance sheet. So these are the most important documents which an investor demands normally. And out of all these, the most mandatory documents are pitch deck and financial documents, because without this, definitely we, n- not only you, even we cannot approach any investor and try to convince them. So these are the most important documents which is needed. And then the certificates, obviously, incorporation certificate, UDYAM certificate, TPIIT certificate, and GST certificate. So these are the certificates which is mandatory for the the founders to provide so that they can try to raise funds, and obviously these are the important documents which any investor would demand. Then moving on. So how to prepare a pitch deck and financial projection. So many times what we have seen is that founders don't want to prepare, you know they feel that they can pitch their own by showing their website maybe, or maybe by showing their balance sheet. But this is not possible, at least in today's scenario where there are a lot of investors and there are a lot of angels, a lot of incubation centers. You cannot just pitch by your showing your website or showing your product. It is always advisable to bring to at least bring your pitch deck, or your to work on your pitch deck and to work on your financial projections, so that the investor who, because obviously investor is going to invest in something. If he is not going to, if he doesn't get any presentation, what exactly he should invest. So the initial document, that is your pitch deck and your financial projection, is mandatory document which you should prepare before you approach any investor. Talking about pitch deck. So pitch deck, again we have mentioned couple of things which you should you know take care while you prepare a pitch deck. So the very first thing is your title slide, wherein you mention the company name, basically that whatever is your brand name. Then the second slide would be a problem slide, where you exactly mention that what is the problem which is there in the market. And you know you don't have to write you know a lot of content. Just pinpoint the basic problem which you think is there in the market. And then moving on to the third point, that is market size. Definitely you have to write down the market size, that is TAM, SAM, and so on. That how big is your market, how are you how are you going to capture it, and then what is the you know total amount of market which is available right now. And then the solution and scalability, how you're going to provide the solution, how you're going to scale it up. Competitor analysis, again a competitor analysis is must before you you know share your pitch deck to any investor, because the investor must know that who are your competitors, and uh, why you're different from them, so that they can decide whether to invest in the startup or not. Then the traction slide, wherein you mention the revenue and your customer base. Maybe you mention the product, basically that how many user base you have, or how many customers you have. Then the financial projection, which clearly states
Uh,
that you need.
so I'm sorry to interrupt, Abba. I think there's someone talking behind you or something. So the noise is coming and your voice is getting echo and little slower. So if you can just ask them to be little quiet for a while and you can continue with your presentation, because a lot of people are having a problem in understanding. Both the voices are getting echo and they are getting mixed up. Can you just check on that, please?
Okay, okay, sure, sure, sure.
Thank you.
So yeah, definitely I'll share the sample of pitch deck after going through the financial projections. So we were at financial projections, and then the team size. How big is your team? Your valuation. What is your ask and what is your valuation. So all these are the important and mandatory points, I think ideally you should cover up in your pitch deck, so that whenever you send this to any investor, at least they get a basic understanding that what the startup is doing, and they don't have to come back to you, and ask you whether, you know, what are you doing. So this is something, ideally you should cover up in your pitch deck, and it should normally be of 15 to 20 slides maximum. Then moving on to the financial projections. So obviously, we normally guide founders to make your financial projection in an Excel sheet only. Don't so normally what used to happen earlier, that founders used to create a big business plan report wherein they used to add their financial projections to. But nowadays, investors are demanding only for a small Excel sheet where they want you to present all the projections in numbers only, and no written content. So ideally it is suggested to uh, prepare your financial projection in an Excel sheet. Then the second thing is obviously your channels, your distribution channels, basically, or the user acquisition, how you're going to acquire user, or how you have already acquired the users. What are your GTM, basically, what is your social media, or how we are basically acquiring the customers. You have to just mention those things in the initial first slide. Then the second page would be of active users and revenue, how you have generated or how you're going to generate revenues in the coming years. Then 3 to 5 year month-on-month projections. For especially those founders who are at an early stage, it is suggested to work on month projections rather than giving a year-on-year projections, because uh, there's a high chance of getting deviated from what you will be presenting to the investors. Then unit economics, all the metrics, basically unit economics, gross margin, contribution margin, then your LTV, all these things must be there. Then the fixed costs, capex, opex, and salary. Capex is basically capital expenditure. Opex is operational expenditure, and these salaries which are going to cover up in the next 5 years or 3 years. Then the cash flow and P&L, and finally the valuation and ask of the uh, company, that how much you're looking to ask from the investor. So after this session, definitely I'm going to share the pitch deck and financial projections samples with you, so that you can have a look at how exactly you can create these two documents. Can we move on to the next slide? Yeah. The role of advisors and mentors. So basically, yeah, this is our profile. You can go through this profile. We have covered almost everything about what AY Ventures does, how we can, how many founders we have assisted so far, what is the, you know, uh, the what are the number of partners we have, the number of investors we have, the number of debt partners we have, and some of the success stories are also added into this. So and you can also go through our website so that you can get an understanding that you know how exactly AI Ventures work. Have you opened any slide? Because I can't see any slide. Okay, moving on to the question answer session. I can still hear people are not able to hear me properly. Maybe you can write down your questions and I can answer it.
I would request all the participants, if they have any questions, any personal, through the session, please, you can ask now.
I'm Rajgopal. Am I audible?
Yes, sir. Please ask your question.
Yeah, actually, this fundraising stages you have mentioned, okay, that's right. But if it is explained with respect to, for example, proof of idea, after idea, proof of concept completion, after concept completion, further proto builds, let us say 5 to 10, and then pilot batch building, and then serial production, and even after serial production, then increasing the volumes further. Like that, if it is explained, that gives a fair picture about when we have to approach for fundraising at various stages. That makes sense. A, B, C series like that. And
Abba, would you
also,
like to answer?
yeah, and also, what are the expectations in terms of stake from the investors?
Abba, will
Yeah.
answer?
Uh,
Yeah.
yeah. Answering your second question, sir, first. So the stake, it normally depends on the investor. Okay. Normally depends on the stage of the startup. Okay. So suppose, say for example, you are at a, idea stage, or normally you are at a, you know, uh, pre-MVP stage. Then at this stage, normally they ask for somewhere around 1 to 2% of your company stake. Max, they go up to 5%. Okay, they don't go beyond that, because obviously there's nothing to, prove investors. You don't have enough traction to showcase to these type of investors, so they don't go beyond this. Then your second question, uh, uh, your it totally depends again on the stage of the company. So suppose you're at so normally what we have done is that we have categorized idea stage companies as pre-revenue only. So if any company who has not yet developed an MVP, we suggest them to work on their MVP. We suggest them to go into the market, try to tell your customers, convince your customers to use your product or use your service. And then after you get some product ready in the market, then you try to approach an investor, rather than approaching an investor at idea stage, because obviously uh, the investors demand for some sort of proof of concept in the
Yes.
market.
Okay.
I think Upalsa, you got your answer. Is there
Yeah,
anything further?
I got the answer. MVP means minimal viable product, right?
Yes, yes, yes.
Abba, you can read out through questions in the chat also. People are asking. Mr. Roy, you want to ask a question? Please go ahead. Can you unmute, Mr. Roy?
Hello.
Yes, Roy, sir. Please ask your question.
Actually, we have a business on solar power plant. I want to these right now we already completed the 4-5 financial year in the service section in renewable energy source. So we want to create a manufacturing unit. So how which is the actual procedure for build up this, and how we can contact regarding this?
No, so in case if you're looking to raise funds for
Hmm.
this project, then definitely, maybe after this call, we can connect over a Google Meet separately and try to
Okay.
understand that, what you have built
Okay.
so far. Yeah.
Okay, okay, okay. So kindly share the details. I will contact you later.
Yeah, yeah, sure, sure.
Sure, sure.
Definitely.
Thank you. Thank you.
Roy, sir, you can just write it down in the chat that you're interested. And just after the session, one of my member from the team will connect you to Abha. Is there any other question to be asked, or Abba can answer questions in the chat? Abba, can you read?
Sure, sure.
Dinesh ji there.
Yes, Mr. Kumar, Dinesh ji, you want to ask a question? Please go ahead.
Hello.
Yes, Saurabh ji, please ask your question.
I just heard your presentation, okay, in which you explained the concepts of this funding. So my question was, suppose I have a few MSMEs, okay, with me, and they are looking for fundraising. How can you help them? Means you have any contact with angel investors, or you prepare that pitch deck and documents, and what are your fees, and why I'm a consultant basically.
Understood. Sure, we do have connects of angel investors. We have a connection of around 200 plus angel investors. So we can try to help those MSME companies in raising funds.
Okay.
We can take this again. We can take this after this call. You can just write interested in the comment section, and we'll definitely
Yeah, I
connect
have
with you.
mentioned my number in chat.
Okay, okay.
Okay, just check it. Saurabh, my name.
Sure, sure. We'll
Saurabh ji, we will
definitely.
connect with you. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you.
Yeah, we'll connect. Yes, Mr. Roy Jayajit ji, you want to ask a question? Please go ahead.
गुड इवनिंग मैडम।
Good evening.
हिंदी में सवाल पूछ सकता हूँ?
बिल्कुल बिल्कुल, जिस
हाँ
भाषा में आप कंफर्टेबल है आप पूछिए।
हाँ, मैं ये जानना चाहता हूँ, मैं मेरे पास दो आइडियाज हैं जिसको मैं लेके आगे काम करना चाहता हूँ। तो क्या उस आइडिया को हम अगर एक्सप्लेन करें तो अगर वो इन्वेस्टर को अच्छा लगता है तो क्या उसमें मुझे फंडिंग मिल सकता है क्या?
सर, आइडिया के ऊपर डिपेंड करता है आपका आइडिया कैसा है ना?
नहीं
अगर
मैं
इसीलिए
एक एप्लीकेशन में एक्चुअली एक डेवलप करना चाहता हूँ जिसमें मैं बायर सेलर्स को मैं उसमें लाना चाहता हूँ। और उसकी जो प्रॉब्लम्स है एक्चुअली रेट को लेके, क्वालिटी को लेके, प्रोडक्ट को लेके, तो मैं चाहता हूँ कि वो मेरे एप्लीकेशंस में वो दोनों वहाँ पर मीट करेंगे। और फिर हम उसमें से अपना उसमें मतलब सेलर हम ही होंगे, और हम अपना उसमें अपने कमीशन बेस पे हम उसमें अपना उसको हम सर्विस प्रोवाइड करेंगे। एक तो ये है। और दूसरा है मेरा एक मैं एक प्रोडक्ट डेवलप करना चाहता हूँ जो अभी इंडिया में अभी वो नहीं है, और मैं उसको डेवलप करके मैं उसको अपना इलेक्ट्रॉनिक्स गुड्स है वो उसको मैं आगे मैन्युफैक्चरिंग करना चाहता हूँ। तो मैं जो मैन्युफैक्चरिंग करूँगा वो मैं जॉब वर्कर से एक्चुअली इंजीनियरिंग सारे वो कंटेंट पार्ट्स हैं तो वो मैं एक कंपनी से मैं सारा वो कराऊंगा, क्योंकि मैन्युफैक्चरिंग में उतना उसमें जाना नहीं चाहता। तो प्रोडक्ट डेवलप करा के फिर मैं उसको इंडियन और ओवरसीज मार्केट में मैं सेल करना चाहता हूँ। तो ये दो मेरे थोड़ा कॉन्सेप्ट है मैडम, तो इसमें क्या हो सकता है कि इन फ्यूचर?
सर, इसको हम थोड़ा सा और ना डिटेल में समझने की कोशिश करेंगे पहले, है ना?
जी
उसके बाद हम लोग आपको बता सकते हैं कि हम किस तरीके से आपको इसमें हेल्प कर सकते हैं, है ना? क्योंकि
जी
ये आइडिया स्टेज पे है, तो उसके
जी
अकॉर्डिंग हमें इन्वेस्टर्स का देखना पड़ता है कि वो कितना अमाउंट तक का इन्वेस्ट कर सकते हैं, या किस टाइप के इन्वेस्टर्स को हमें आइडियली स्टेज पे अप्रोच करना चाहिए। तो वो
जी।
एक सेपरेट डिस्कशन हम लोग इस कॉल के बाद रख सकते हैं,
अच्छा,
है ना?
एक चीज और था मैम, जैसे ये तो फंडिंग का चलिए वो तो आगे की बात है। तो जैसे अब ये हम जो वर्किंग करेंगे आगे की, इसको जब हम इसको लेके जाएंगे तो उसमें आप हेल्प मिलता है क्या? जैसे प्रोडक्ट को कैसे और हम आगे तक ले जा सकते हैं, जैसे जस्ट लाइक मैं शार्क टैंक जो मैं देखता हूँ, जस्ट लाइक वो इन्वेस्टर आते हैं उसमें, उसको कन्विंस करते हैं इन्वेस्टर को, फिर वो उसमें पैसे भी डालते हैं, उसको कैसे आगे ग्रोथ करना है उसके सारे उसका सारा वो हेल्प करते हैं। तो क्या एंजल इन्वेस्टर ऐसा करता है क्या? ऐसा हेल्प मिल सकता है हमें?
जी जी, जरूर मिलता है आपको। तो
हम्म।
कोई भी
हाँ भाई,
इन्वेस्टर
हाँ
कोई भी
हाँ हाँ
इन्वेस्ट
ठीक भाई, हाँ हाँ ठीक है कोई।
कोई भी इन्वेस्टर अगर ऑनबोर्ड होता है सर आपके प्लेटफॉर्म पे, या कोई स्टेक लेता है आपकी कंपनी का, तो डेफिनेटली वो अपने नेटवर्क के साथ आता है ना?
जी
तो वो आपके साथ अपना नेटवर्क जरूर शेयर करता है,
जी।
ठीक है?
हम्म,
चाहे वो आपके बिजनेस ग्रोथ के लिए हो, चाहे वो आपको जो है किसी किसी और तरीके से, किसी भी तरीके से बिजनेस को ग्रो करने के लिए वो
जी
आपको डेफिनेटली हेल्प करता है।
जी जी। तो फिर
रॉय सर जी, अभी
कैसे?
ना, अभी सेशन के बाद हमारा टीम से आपको कोई कांटेक्ट करेगा, बिकॉज आप बिल्कुल रॉ स्टेज पे है, तो
हाँ
आपको पूरा 1-to-1 चाहिए। तो
जी
अभी हम आपको थोड़ी देर में
हाँ
आभा से
ठीक
कनेक्ट करा के, क्योंकि इनका कंपनी सब करता है, आपको प्रेजेंटेशन कैसे बनाना है, क्या डॉक्यूमेंट्स लगेगा, क्या
जी
आपका प्रोडक्ट कैसे जा सकता है, सब कुछ ये आपको एक्सप्लेन करेगा, इनका टीम है।
ठीक
बट
ठीक है
अभी हम इस सेशन में डिस्कस नहीं कर
जरूर
पाएंगे, तो
जी
आप अपना डिटेल्स छोड़िए, हमारा कोई
जी
ना कोई आप कांटेक्ट करेगा।
हाँ हाँ ठीक ठीक मैडम, चैट में छोड़
थैंक यू।
देता हूँ मैं नंबर।
ठीक है जी, थैंक
थैंक
यू
यू
जी।
सो मच मैडम, थैंक यू।
थैंक यू सर।
Hello, can you hear me?
तो जीत जाओ।
यस अंकुर जी, प्लीज आस्क योर क्वेश्चन।
हाँ जी, थैंक यू। तो मेरा क्वेश्चन था कि अभी जैसे एक हमारा स्टार्टअप है, तो हम अभी इन्वेस्टमेंट के उसमें एक्सप्लोर कर रहे हैं, एंजल इन्वेस्टमेंट एंड ऑल। तो इसमें पूछना था, जैसे स्टार्टअप का जब इनिशियल स्टेज में होता है तो इतना रेवेन्यू नहीं होता, वैल्यूएशन नहीं निकलता। तो उस स्टेज पे जब कोई एंजल इन्वेस्टर कैन वांट्स टू कम इन हमारे पास, जैसे कोई एंजल इन्वेस्टर है जो 20-25 lakhs इन्वेस्ट करना चाहता है फॉर लाइक 5-8-10%, बट ऑन पेपर स्टार्टअप की वैल्यूएशन मतलब एज पर रेवेन्यू एंड ऑल उस लेवल पे नहीं मैच करती। तो उस केस में हाउ डज द प्रोसेस वर्क? क्योंकि हम जैसे अभी मीडिया में भी देखते हैं कि बहुत कंपनीज होती हैं जिनका इतना रेवेन्यू नहीं होता, लॉसेस में होती हैं, तब भी मतलब मल्टीपल एक्स उनको वैल्यूएशंस मिल जाती हैं विदाउट एनी इश्यूज। तो मतलब वो प्रोसेस क्या है जिससे मतलब लीगल वे में, फाइनेंशियल वे में कोई इश्यूज ना आए, कि जैसे किसी एंजल इन्वेस्टमेंट ने इन्वेस्टर ने पुट किया है तो वहां पर नोटिसेस आ जाते हैं बाद में, नहीं तो कि आपने ये कि कैसे वैल्यूएशन निकाली, मैच नहीं करता या वो, तो वो मेरे को एक आइडिया चाहिए।
सर आपका वैल्यूएशन अभी ज्यादा है क्या?
सॉरी।
अभी आपका वैल्यूएशन एज कंपेयर टू मार्केट स्टैंडर्ड ज्यादा है क्या?
हाँ मतलब जो अभी हमारा रहे, हम तो अपना पोटेंशियल के हिसाब से कर रहे हैं, जो एंजल इन्वेस्टर है जिनको जो इंटरेस्टेड है, तो उस केस में कैसे हम उसको मैच करें लीगल वे में कि इशू ना है, जैसे इनकम टैक्स एंड ऑल दीज। मतलब एंजल टैक्स तो रिमूव कर दिया, वो तो एक एक पॉइंट है, बट तब भी वैल्यूएशन के कैसे उसमें मैचिंग करें हम, कि जो हमें इक्विटी डाइल्यूट करनी है हम उसी को कर पाए जो हम और एंजल इन्वेस्टर अग्री म्यूचुअली अग्री कर रहे हैं।
तो अभी आपका इन्वेस्टर कितना इन्वेस्ट करने को रेडी है?
जैसे मैं आपको एग्जांपल दे रहा हूँ कि 25 lakhs इन एंजल इन्वेस्टर अगर इन्वेस्ट करने को रेडी है, बट
हम्म
अभी हमारी फॉर एग्जांपल पूरा जो रेवेन्यू है वही 10 लाख टच नहीं किया है, जो
हम्म
एनुअल रेवेन्यू है। तो उस
हम्म
केस में तो कंपनी वैल्यूएशन 25 लाख नहीं, टोटली नहीं बनती रेवेन्यू के बेसिस पर, बट
हम्म
एंजल इन्वेस्टर है रेडी है 8% या 5% पे इन्वेस्ट करने का। तो
हम्म।
वो लीगली वो चीज कैसे सॉर्ट आउट
जो
होती है?
कोई इन्वेस्टर है वो
हाँ
मतलब कोई नॉन इन्वेस्टर है,
हाँ
मार्केट में
जी,
सबको
करेक्ट
पता है?
करेक्ट। हाँ जी, नॉन इन्वेस्टर है।
ओके। और आपका
मतलब मेरे
वैल्यूएशन?
मतलब हमारे नॉन इन्वेस्टर है, फैमिली फ्रेंड्स टाइप।
अच्छा आपके नॉन, हाँ तो
हाँ
तब तो एक सोल्यूशन इसका ये है सर कि अभी के लिए आपको वैल्यूएशन दिखाने की जरूरत ही नहीं है, क्योंकि आपका इनिशियल स्टेज है ना? तो
करेक्ट।
जो पहला स्टेज होता है जिसमें आप फैमिली फ्रेंड से राउंड उठाते हो पहला, ठीक है, उस केस
हम्म।
में वैल्यूएशन वो कंसिडर नहीं किया जाता है। ठीक है, इन्वेस्टर्स कभी भी वैल्यूएशन कंसिडर करते नहीं इनिशियल स्टेज का जो फंडिंग होता है। ठीक है, तो आप
नहीं,
विदाउट
इन्वेस्टर्स तो नहीं करे कंसिडर करेंगे, मेरा क्वेश्चन है कि जैसे इनकम टैक्स डिपार्टमेंट से नोटिस आ जाते हैं कि
हम्म
आपने ये किस बेसिस पे, या मतलब आपकी वैल्यूएशन कंपनी की जस्टिफाइड नहीं है, फॉर एग्जांपल कि आपने सिर्फ 5% पे इक्विटी डाइल्यूट की है जबकि उनके इन्वेस्टमेंट के हिसाब से ज्यादा बनता है, आपकी कंपनी की वैल्यूएशन में इशू वो क्रिएट कर दे। तो वो मैं पूछ रहा था, वो कैसे जस्टिफाई करेंगे हम लीगल प्रोसेस में? जो सीए हैं बेसिकली उनसे भी मैं पूछना चाह रहा था ये चीज, कि जो फाइनेंशियल लीगल पॉइंट ऑफ व्यू से उसको कैसे जस्टिफाई करते हैं।
आई थिंक ये वंदना मैम ज्यादा अच्छे से फिर आंसर कर पाएंगी।
हाँ जी।
Vandana, are you there? Can you please answer? Ankur ji, if you don't mind, we can get you connected after the session.
Sure,
And
no
then I
worries.
think,
कोई
yeah,
बात नहीं. I can
thank
put
you.
down my number on the
Yes, please.
chat.
Yes, please. My team will get in touch with you and we'll be able to, resolve your query.
No worries. ठीक है. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. Yes, sir. Mr. Kolatkar ji, please ask your question. Can you unmute Mr. Kolatkar ji, please?
Already done.
Or we can have Abhijit ji. Meanwhile.
Hello.
Yes, sir. Please ask your question. Good evening.
Yeah, I'm trying to. Are you able to listen?
Yes, right now, yes.
Are you able to listen?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, thanks. I have a genuine typical Indian question. Some young person or middle-aged person who is doing his job, either government or private, and he wants to do something in life, say business, manufacturing, agency, whatever. But let our consultants please advise us that first of all, his parents will tell him, don't do better. This is not our piece of cake. Then his wife also would tell him the same thing. And his relatives will try to stay away from him. These are very practical situations. But this young or middle-aged person wants to come out of it and do something of his own. So how to convince these typical questions? From this is not a typical financial question, but I mean, can you kindly advise on this?
Sir, if I may, because वो कहते हैं ना जो डर गया वो मर गया आगे वो
Agreed.
डर के आगे जीत है. So you have to take one step further. So like I know you are interested in getting something done. So if you have any idea, I just mentioned it before. Our team will get in touch with you because you are on a very raw stage. So we need to know what direction you want to head towards, right? Then we can get you connect to the expertise and they will hold your hand throughout and we can, if you make up your mind that you
Okay.
really you want to do something, right?
Okay, that is fine. Thank you very much. But
Okay,
generally,
thank you so much.
yeah, okay. Thank you. Thanks a lot.
We'll get in touch with you, sir. Abhijit ji, would you like to ask you? Please unmute Abhijit ji.
System raise it there.
Emmanuel ji will get you, you can just raise your hand. Once we have Abhijit ji and Amlesh ji, next one will take up your question. For sure. Please raise your hand. So do we have any or we can have Amlesh ji who can ask this question, please?
Sure. Thank you, Sonia ma'am.
Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah. So, ma'am, this is a question for Abha, ma'am. So, I had started some business last year. Now, this was a franchisee though. So, I had taken a franchisee from a company. I invested an amount. And unfortunately, things didn't go well with the franchisee, and I had to shut that down. Now, as far as the idea is concerned, now this is in the training space. So we are looking to train people on the new technologies. So I would like to pursue that. Unfortunately, I don't have any revenue to show, but I want to again look to start the same business on my own. So bootstrap, I mean, based on the term that I saw here. How do I do that? And is it possible? And what is the probability of getting a funding for somebody like me?
Hi, sir. So, very good question. Most of the founders, they do, ask us such questions. So, see, ideally at this stage, we would suggest you to go for a market research now because, you know, uh, the market has changed a lot. When you started, maybe the market was something else, but now the, scenario might have changed. So, ideally, we would suggest to go into the market, try to do some research on your customers, try to check out with them if, if you come out with so and so services, will they be using it or not? Try to do it on, 4 to 5, at least 100 to 150 customers and get a feedback from them. If they feel that, this is something which they'll agree on, this is something which they'll use, if you bring this thing in the market, then, start working on it and try to, bootstrap it as much as you can. Try to, use limited funds of yours, obviously, but then try to figure out the ways via which you don't have to use much funds and then you can also, work on your product. And there are a lot of free, free, apps. There are a lot of free services which is available on internet nowadays. So you can utilize them and try to bootstrap it till you can, and then go for a funding. Basically, once you've decided that, once you see that the customers are willing to buy your product, and then, if you have also, if the product is really amazing and if you have got the report that customers are willing to buy this, then definitely at that stage also you can try to approach couple of investors and try to raise some initial funding if you don't have enough capital to survive. But in case if you have sufficient runway, then definitely you can wait for next 6 months, work on your product, work on getting some customers, and then go for raising funds.
Sure. Noted, Abba ma'am. And in case I have to reach out, yeah, I'll get your contact details
Yeah,
and
you'll get it.
for the
Yes.
discussion. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah,
Thank you.
yeah. Okay.
Abhijit ji, are you good to ask a question? Can you unmute Abhijit ji? Otherwise, we'll have Emmanuel ji. Yes, Emmanuel ji, please ask your question.
Yes, yes, yes. Thank you so much for the opportunity here. Hi, Abba and Abba ma'am. Actually, we are from Bangalore and we're into interior design segment actually. I'm audible now? Hello?
Yes,
You
sir,
good.
you're right.
We're actually into interior designs actually. So there's a third year running the company actually. All right. So first year we've done approximately 40 lakhs plus of revenue. Second year we've done close to 66 lakh plus revenue, and we are completely bootstrapped, and we haven't gone for any funding yet. And we want to expand our team in terms of keeping some funds at least for the expansion. Okay, so right now we're at a stage, we're at a growing stage. So is the right time to go for any any fundraising now, or else what would be the steps to actually go for fundraising? Either it's VC or angel investor. I have no idea about the same thing, but until now we were able to form and work together with our own capital and with our own own sort of money altogether. We put in business, but now we want to have funds in order to expand the business model also. So is the right time to go for funding?
Yes, sir, absolutely. This is the right time when you can approach investors because I think you have already crossed that initial stage of, generating revenue. You have some good, customer base as well. So
Yes.
definitely, the
Yeah.
type of investors ideally you should approach at this stage is angel investors, and you can also try to approach incubation centers because obviously you are at a initial traction, right? Initial
Yes.
revenues are coming in. So
Yes.
try to also approach incubation centers and accelerators for raising funds.
Well, that's why we lag behind. We have no idea how to start the process of where to connect and who are the POCs for us. Whether we can be in touch with them. Any pitch deck, we have zero idea in those segments. Until now, we are just running our own set of model at work. So, I mean, it could be helpful. I mean, how can we contact, or how can we, do we have any, any advices would be helpful for us. So please do let us know how it can be helpful for us.
See, if you want to, approach investors on your own, there are a lot of platforms via which you can approach investors.
Hello.
Yes, okay.
We can share the list of platforms too, like Angel List, Crunchbase, or you just simply search, write, angel investors in India, and you'll get a lot of contact. But in case if you want, any advisors help, then definitely we are there to help you out. You can approach us anytime. Maybe after this call, we can connect over a Gmeet call and try to understand your business in detail, and we can also try to figure out that how, what type of investors we can approach.
Sure thing, sure thing, sure thing. Thank you so much. Thank you so much.
Yes, Abhijit ji, please ask your question now. Can you unmute him, please? Abhijit Ranjan ji.
Hello.
Yes, sir. Good evening. Please ask your question.
Good evening, madam. Good evening. So, yes, ma'am, I'm a doctor by profession. I'm a gastroenterologist. Currently, I'm practicing in Gurgaon, Tier 1 city. I have my clinic, one clinic which I've almost has past 1.5 years, and we are doing quite well. We are in the planning of the second unit in Gurgaon itself in a very posh area. So we are planning for with a vision of almost chain of clinics. Every 6 months, we will be adding one clinic. There is a one limitations in this condition where we have to require funds for scaling up. So I wanted to understand from your side that in case of healthcare and all those things, what is the possibilities of getting funding and all from the angel investors?
Caesar, I think since you're going to start this, right? You haven't started it yet.
No, we have almost started, and this we have successfully we have run one clinic, one and a half
Okay.
for the last 1.5 years.
Okay, got
With
it.
a of almost profit of 1.5 CR. So
Okay.
this time we are projecting a profit of almost 2 CR. So we are scaling up with, but then the other funds need to be required. We are having a vision of almost a chain of clinics, especially dedicated for all kinds of gastrointestinal and liver related problems. So regarding this, I wanted to know that for scale up, definitely funds are required, and as well as the expertise with networks is also required. So how do you see in this? Will I be able to get this funds from the investors, or what preparation should be done from my side as of now?
Sir, I think because I believe a lot of competitors are already there in the market from the same segment. If we can also try to bring some USP.
So that's why I'm telling this is a specialized gastrointestinal liver disease. It's not a multi-specialty hospital. It's a specialized stomach related problems and all those things where the patient comes and because there is a very scarcity in this market. When a person asks when has some kind of liver issues, he searches for a doctor in a hospital, and then that's a very difficult situation for a person as well. So here we are developing a chain of clinics that may be uh, scale up to a certain maybe from tier 1 to tier 2 tier 3 cities, where we also wanted to make this as a brand. So any patient if searches for any for gastrointestinal specialized center, then they will see our center as well. So this is how we are planning, and this is our USP in this condition. We have all this gastrointestinal dedicated MBBS DM specialized super specialized doctors in this clinic.
Okay, that's amazing. So yeah, then in that case, I think we can definitely, you can approach couple of angel investors to raise, the initial capital from them. And yeah, and maybe you can also approach government too, because since this comes under a healthcare thing, and government is supporting a lot of impact startups, especially who comes under healthcare. So definitely we can also try to approach government grants too.
Right, right. So how do we go forward? So, will I get any
Yeah, yeah.
calls from your team or
Yeah, you will get a call from us. So after
okay,
this session, we can definitely connect on
sure,
Google
sure.
Meet or something.
Definitely. Thank you. Thanks.
Yeah.
Thanks
Okay.
much. Thank you.
I see we have Bhaskar ji and Pratish ji who want to eagerly to be answered. So can you unmute both of them, please? Bhaskar ji and Pratish ji, please. Bhaskar ji, you can ask your question.
Yeah, is my voice audible?
Yes, sir, please.
Yeah. Good evening, everybody. My company is a startup company. Okay, it costs 1 year. We are into facility management services. Okay, it's a service industry. So in 1 year, I could have make it my turnover now. Initial year it has crossed 3 crores, and now by this year, commercial financial year, I'll be touching around 8 to 9 crores. Will be the angel investors will be interested to invest in such type of facility management services company?
Yes, yes. I think see, we can approach angels in this stage. But have we created any sort of you know USP or anything which can?
Yeah, we have our own USP. A part of
Okay.
see, in initial stage of first year only we were able to cross 3 crores. Means it's a big thing. It's not a small thing. Without having a USP and the capabilities in the market to prove myself, we can't
Hmm.
do it. And after that, within after completion of 1 year, now I'm going to in this financial year I'll be touching around 8 to 9 crores. Okay.
Okay, that's nice.
So where first year to initial first year itself with 3 crores, and in the second year when we are touching 8 crores, it's almost 150 times higher than the first year's target sales, whatever you may call it. So without USP and without having the capabilities in the market, that growth won't be there for the
Hmm.
to a new company. Okay, into with so much of competition in the market. Yeah.
Right, right, absolutely. So
Mm.
definitely you can approach angels. You can definitely
How
get
much
some.
they'll be expecting? Will the angel investors will be a sleeping partner, or just they'll invest and then expectation of percentage of the returns, how much it would be, how it will be.
See, it totally depends on the investor. Sometimes, they just want to invest the money, and, they'll come back after 4 months or 6 months, and then
Mm.
they'll ask, do a follow up that whether what is the, progress in the company.
Mm.
But most
Okay.
of the times they also, play an active role. They bring their own network. They, help you out with connecting with more of the vendors you are looking for. So it totally depends on the, investor basically, and the terms and conditions which you decide at the time of you know finally uh, filing the term sheet and all.
Yeah. How much returns they would be expecting? Just a thumb rule to understand
Somewhere around 2x to 3x of
of the
whatever your,
investment.
yeah, of the investment.
2x to 3 years. After how many years, sir?
See, normally they give you a time period of around 2 years to max 5 years. Okay,
Mm.
so within this time frame they look for a return too.
Okay. If they invest, for example, 5 crores, okay,
Hmm.
then after 5 years, they would be expecting around 10 crores of
Yeah.
return given.
Yes, 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 right.
Okay. Good. Yeah, I'll ping my number here. Just try to connect with me and let us have a
Sure,
conversation.
definitely.
Okay. Thanks.
Thank you. Can we have Pratishji? Pratishji, you can ask your question now.
Yeah, this is Pradesh Kumar here.
Good evening, sir. Please ask your question.
Yeah, I'm a typical person from a middle class family. I have a concept. I would like to know what kind of support that incubators or startup schemes will provide in terms of developing that concept as a product. Because I'm working in renewable energy sector, initiated my startup last year. So I am at a very preliminary stage. Concept is available. That concept has to be converted into a product. It needs some lot of R&D section. Meticulous amount of analysis has to be done on that. So is there any support provided from incubating sectors? Anything of that kind is available for concept proof or prototyping the product?
See, there are a lot of initial stage incubation centers who can help you out with you know mentorship or networking support. But for prototyping, I think you can try to build up the product first. Try to do more research in the market. Try to get some initial customers. Then only it would be possible for us also to connect you with the right type of incubation who can assist you at this stage.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
We have Ajay Kumarji and Shivaji. Is there, Shivaji, would you like to ask your question? We can get you unmute. And Ajayji, please ask your question now.
Yeah, good evening, one and all.
Good evening, sir.
My query is to that CMM, and if anybody else can answer that, being a startup, we didn't have sales in the initial period. So in that period, how would be the GST treatment? What would be the GST treatment for that period when the sale would be offer based or discounted based? Hello.
Yes, sir. Please ask your question now. I will answer.
Yeah. This must be the question. That how would you treat the GST?
I think Sonia Bandana would be the better person to answer this question.
Okay, no problem. If you don't mind, sir, can we get you connected after the session? We have the other speaker, Vandana ji, who's not available with us right now. But I think after the session, we'll get you connected and you can, have one-to-one talk with her. Is that okay, Ajay ji?
Yeah, that's okay. If you can brief, if you can provide brief idea, that would be also, welcome.
Yeah, no problem. We can answer you in the chat. We'll give you a message. And if you want, you can have a direct talk also, right? We'll get you connected after the session.
Thank you, ma'am. Yeah.
Thank you. Yes, Shivaji, please ask your question.
Yeah, good evening.
Good evening, sir.
My name is Arjun actually. So I have overall 17 years of experience in engineering and construction and business consultant in renewable energy and technology side actually. So I have some different verticals to establish actually. And I am more, I have plan one prototype plan in the biogas energy actually, renewable energies. Hello, can you hear?
Yes, sir. Please ask. We are there.
Yeah. I am thinking to start my biogas plant actually. So I have done several research and I have experience in design and developing a biogas energy actually. This is the one part actually. So another part is I have plan on AR/VR technology actually in schooling and mechanical and civil sector. So in education sector. So that business, if I want to develop, how can I get the initial funds and incubate initial funds?
Sir, since for the solar project, especially maybe we can try to connect, because we have couple of connections through which we can help you to raise funds.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah. We can definitely connect after this call. We
Sure,
can have a
definitely.
separate call.
Okay.
Jaya ji, you also wanted to ask something. If you want, we can get you unmuted. Meanwhile, Dinesh ji, please ask your question.
Am I audible, ma'am?
Yes, sir. Good evening. Please ask
Good
your
evening,
question.
ma'am. Yes, good evening. First, I have multiple questions, 2-3 questions. First of all, what legal structure is required for startup, such as private limited, LLP, OPC? What legal structure is required? The second question, what legal documents, agreements are required to be prepared when an investor takes the stake or the equity from startup? Hello?
Answering
sir.
your
Yes, sir.
first question, sir. So normally it is ideally suggested to go for a private limited company in case if you're looking to raise funds, because obviously if you open up proprietor or partnership firm, it won't be possible for an investor to invest. So go for a private limited company first.
In LLP, doesn't come investors.
LLP also, you can go for LLP, but then later on you anyways have to convert it into a private limited. So it is always advisable to go for a private limited company.
Okay.
Yeah.
And this OPC is OPC, one
OPC
person.
is again. So initially, see, in case if you just want to bootstrap it, if you want to use your own funds and run it for a while, then definitely you can open it in any form, either OPC or proprietorship, because obviously you'll be able to save a lot of funds and this, and there won't be a lot of compliances. But in case if you want to raise funds straight after getting some traction, then definitely it is advisable to go for a private limited company straight, because
Right.
later on you might face some issues while converting it into a private limited. So it's better to do it in the initial stage only.
And the second one question.
Yeah. So what was the second question, sir?
What legal documents, agreements are required to be prepared when an investor takes the stake equity from the startup?
Normally the term sheet. So I think Vandana ma'am would have been be able to answer this question, because these are the legal documents. So maybe she can connect you after this call and try to answer this question.
I have some more questions, ma'am.
Yeah, please go ahead.
Suppose I register a startup as a private limited. Can I do some additional businesses if I have a main business and initially I don't have sale? So can I do some additional business as per AOA and MOA? Or
Yeah.
is it allowed or not?
No, it is allowed. You can do open as many business side by side. That's not a problem. But obviously, see if it see it in as per the investor's perspective, it is always advisable to run one business at a time, because the investor might think that you're not focused on the business, or maybe you're just focusing on too many things at the same time. So only as per the investor's perspective, you should go for one single company and run that only. But in case if you think that it will take some time for growth, you'll take some time in raising funds, then definitely you can go for other companies as well and try to see that which one is working better.
So so I mean to say the main activity, I should focus on the main activity,
Right.
main business. If I
Right.
register the startup company
Right. You
in the
should
startup.
ideally focus on the main startup, because the other things are always a distraction only. Nothing works out, so it's better
But
to
if I
focus
don't have
on one.
sales,
Yes. If you don't, if you see that after running the startup after a month or two, you are saying that there is no progress, then definitely go for other companies as well. Try to figure out.
And ma'am, up to this startup company, as you told that VCs are they come for the funding. And when comes the private equities, PE firms, when they come?
They
In
come at a
future?
very later stage, sir. They come at after Series A, Series B, and Series C round. So normally they come at a very later stage.
After series C round.
Yeah, right. They
Okay.
come at a later stage.
Okay. Well, very late stage. Yeah, yeah.
Right.
I mean to say, after establishing a business in a
Right,
good,
right.
good, in a very, mean to say, running business.
Yes.
Hello.
Right.
Scaled business. They come
Yeah,
into picture, on a scaled business.
Yes, exactly.
And as you said that the incubation, as per my information, the incubators help the student startups. They don't come forward for these external startups, na? They
No, they
only help
do.
the student startups.
No. They also come for external startups who are not a part of that
Private startups,
institution.
yes,
Yeah,
individual startups.
yeah. They do come for those type of startups as well. So, say for example, IIT Kanpur, it's an incubator. They are helping almost all type of startups, and not only their internal, startups.
Okay. So they help the outside startups.
Yes,
They also help.
yes, they do.
Okay, ma'am. Thank you, ma'am.
Okay.
Abaji, I see there are a lot of people who want to ask that they already have established businesses. Are they still liable or can be considered for this funding if they have established businesses?
Yeah, definitely. So, in case if they have already established a business, then they can definitely try to approach VCs. They can approach angels and later stage investors too for raising funds. But only the criteria would be that try to look at the thesis of the investors, try to understand that at what stage basically these investors have invested in the past 5 years, and then approach them. If you just go and approach any random investor, then that won't be helpful to you. So it's better to you know research on these type of investors and then approach.
Great, thank you. So now we have Ravi Krishnanji. Please ask your question, Ravi Krishnanji. Can you unmute him, please? Okay. So we have Dilipji. Dilipji, would you like to ask the question?
Yes.
Yes, please. Go ahead. Good evening.
Yeah, good. I am. Actually, we have developed MVP. We are also ready to launch beta in a couple of weeks, probably.
So you're not audible. I'm sorry. Your voice is breaking. Can you come towards the network area?
Yeah, sure. Hello.
Yes, sir.
Audible now?
No, sir. Not audible enough.
Hello, now is it okay now?
Better.
Actually, we have developed MVP and we are ready to launch a beta in a couple of weeks for public.
Hello.
Yes, Amitji, please ask your question. I think we dropped him. Ravi Krishnanji, please, we'd like to unmute you again.
Hello.
Yes, Mr. Sarkar, ask your question.
Yeah, thanks. So my question is there any agreements on some terms that if someone is investing, then only I will register my company? Like currently it's not registered. I am working on a MVP of our product, so it will be completed within 5 months. Now, suppose I am able to convince an investor. Okay, now can we make agreement on terms like if they are confirming their investment, then only I will register my company to private limited, something like that.
You can do this, but it is normally advised to see if you have a commitment from the investor beforehand, then to definitely you can try to register it. But in case the investor is hanging on and he's not replying you even after 1 to 2 months and all, then it's better not to you know uh, see as such there's no agreement or anything which you can make. The only way for this is that you should wait till you get a real commitment, till he actually invests in your uh, put the money in your bank account, because otherwise so you'll be losing the money in registering the company. So
Yeah, that's true. But the thing is, whenever I am approaching to investors, someone they are saying like you have to be private limited. So I was having a conversation with one of the CEOs of Utsav app, I guess. So she was saying that they made some legal agreements that once the investor invests, then only she'll be registering that company as a private limited. So they agreed on that terms and they proceeded further. So that's why I just asked for a confirmation. Like,
so I think maybe we can do a research on this, and then maybe we can come back with an answer, or you can connect with Vandana ma'am for the same, where she comes from a legal background too.
okay, sure. She can connect me or like it will be good if I can get a call from you guys. Also, I have
Yes,
two more
please. You
questions.
can just put in your number. One of my team member will get you connected. Mrs. Akka will get you connected after the session only.
Okay, I'll be pasting the number in the chat. Also, two more questions are there, like how to locate incubators where we can take mentorship, help, and guidance.
See, initially maybe you can just Google incubation centers on internet, and you'll get a lot of incubation centers across India, and you can apply via their platform. But in case if you think that you know you want you want to build some connection with these incubation centers and then apply there, then definitely we are there to help you out. We already have MOUs signed with these incubation centers, and we are personally in touch with them. So in case if you think that you want to approach incubation centers initially and get some guidance, get some mentorship and funding, we can apply on your behalf and try to connect you with them.
Okay. Got it. Okay, thanks for the information.
Thank you, Mrs. Akka. Do we have anyone else? Because we're running short of time. So, Abaji, would you like to just run across the question answer thing or in the chat wherein you find any particular question you like to answer, and then we can just wind up.
Yeah, I think most of them have asked for connecting over a call. I think most of them.
Yeah, they have left their messages and we'll let the team guys to connect with them. So that's okay. If you see in the question answer round, Mr. Sanjay Datta was asking that, okay.
We can also share the presentation with the audience.
Yes, I'd just like to inform all the participants that this will be uploaded on our YouTube channel also. So whatever you have missed, so you can, just ask later and probably go through the entire video. If you have missed anything, the presentation is going to be there and all the questions which have been answered like all your co-participants were there. So that can also help you where if you are stuck, you can just go through the session once again at YouTube. So that will be really valuable. And people who have dropped in their numbers, our team will definitely get in touch, and you can get in touch with Abha. We'll be leaving her contacts also. And we can get in touch and you can get a chit chat, or if you want one-on-one meeting, that can also be done. So you can leave your comments here and we'll get you connected definitely. So I think we all have tried to cover a lot of ground today, and I hope you all found the discussions and presentation quite valuable and insightful. So on behalf of entire Udmita team and our both the honorable speakers here today, Abha ji and Vandana ji, we like to thank you for your time and engagement. And once again, I would request you may feel free to reach out to us for any particular field or regarding the session you are stuck and need assistance at. This is why this platform as Udmita Helpline is available for you. And I know today was a little time where you get stuck with the opportunities, and we had little challenging in the beginning, but thank you all for your patience and support that you had been with us, and we were able to carry forward because of the little internet issues we had in the beginning. So thank you all of you, and I would thank Abha for being there, taking out marking in her schedule and being with us here and spending such good valuable information and insight to each one of you. So is there anything you like to say, Abha, before we are just closing? I think Abha is not there with us now. So thank you, each one of you. Please stay in touch with us. And of course, whoever wants to get in touch with Abha, our team will be getting in touch with you. We have left our addresses and we'll get you enrolled on other issues also. If you need any of our honorable speaker to speak on something wherein you feel as an entrepreneur or as a startup, you are getting stuck somewhere, so we have all the help and we can take you forward, and we can have more sessions like this where it all get together same mindedly with your different situations, but yes, we get answers to our questions together. So it was wonderful having you here today. Thank you so much from Team Udmita. Have a great day. Thank you.